Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Our Army at War number 213, featuring Sergeant Rock and the boys of Easy Company. Starting off with a Joe Kubert cover, no surprise there. Very well done, as usual. This is from 1969, December. Now, so guys, we're in for a treat. This is a Russ Heath drawn Sergeant Rock tale. And this is some of my favorite shit from that whole period. From the late 60s, early 70s. Some of the best art in comics, unheralded by the fandom, was the shit Russ Heath was doing for the war comics of DC. This stuff is just beautiful. Check out this first page, too. How many comics back then, mainstream comics, even now, well, maybe now it's different, but we just have the silent page. No word balloons, no captions, just the expression on a bulldozer's face. We know what something's up. We know that Sergeant Rock is looking on with concern. He knows something's up. All of this information with not a single word. And, well, impeccably drawn as well. So that's on top of it. And I know I sound like a broken record, but God, the colors were so solid on these comics. I don't know if the war comics had a different colorist, but these late 60s, early 70s DC comics, specifically the war comics, oh my God, the colors are so deep. This looks like in the 80s when they started doing the Mando paper and they could get better colors and stuff. This is even better looking than that, and this is cheap newsprint. I don't know what they did. But all in all, writing, drawing, coloring, these were the best comics of their time. But, nobody cared because they weren't superheroes. I didn't care. I hated these as a kid. I hated war comics. Now I realize these are some of the best written and drawn mainstream comics of their era. So we start, of course, Sergeant Rock starts off by narrating, as he usually does. And this is called A Letter for Bulldozer. So Sergeant Rock's about to talk to Bulldozer, say, hey, what's up? Why the long face? And all of a sudden, 2 Stukas come out of nowhere, or 3 Stukas, and they start bombing Easy Company. Really fun. Well, it's not a 2-page spread necessarily because it's split out, but definitely a good use of that, the widescreen effect. And Sergeant Rock basically has to get Bulldozer back in the game. Bulldozer's so rattled by this letter that we still don't know what it's about, that Sergeant Rock's going to be like, come on, Bulldozer, pick up your goddamn, whatever this gun is. Apparently this gun, only Bulldozer can shoot it because he's the only one strong enough. I think it's a 50 caliber, some kind of 50 caliber, I don't know, gun. Let's call it a gun. I don't know anything about guns, guys. But it's really heavy, and it packs a wallop. So they take out 2 of the Stukas with this gun. And the 3rd Stuka flies off. So Sergeant Rock starts chewing out Bulldozer. He's like, what the hell was that back there? He fucking froze up. And he explains it to Sergeant Rock. He's like, sorry, man. It's this letter I got. And we have a little flashback to when Bulldozer was a civilian. And he got a job working on the docks. Big strapping guy like Bulldozer. Of course, they're going to hire him. No, I'm sorry. It's the meat yards, the stock yards, not in the docks. So after his first week, he gets a nice fat paycheck. And these muggers jump out at him while he's walking home at night. So now we have part 2. And just look at these colors. God, when I started reading comics in like the mid-70s, they already started using the cheaper presses. And then the early 80s, forget about it. You never saw colors like this. None of the comics I read had anything close to this. So even though Bulldozer's a bad mamma jamma, these muggers kick the shit out of him. There's like 4 of them. So when he kind of comes out of his dazed state, he sees that there's one guy still on the ground, and it looks like Bulldozer killed him, in self-defense. The cops show up, and Bulldozer hightails it. He doesn't know if the cops will believe his explanation. He's scared, and he runs away. Pretty soon, he started getting letters threatening to tell the cops, and he had to pay him off. So he's been paying him off for years. He's ne'er-do-wells. So Sergeant Wright tries to give him some advice, like running away from a problem will only bring a guy full circle back to where he started. You got to face up to it. And the first step is to open this letter. Because Bulldozer hasn't even opened the letter. He just recognized the address. God, look how great that face is. Russ Heath, man. So good. Right as Rock's about to open the letter, a bunch of tanks attack. A bunch of Nazi tanks. And they're just tearing through Easy Company. And, of course, Bulldozer's still a little out of the game. Look at the effects for this, like the fiery effects here by mixing up red and orange and yellow. I mean, it's totally, like, primitive, old school coloring. But it looks so good. It looks so much better than, like, some of those Baxter comics from the 80s that were, trying to use the fancy new coloring. So Bulldozer takes out both of the tanks with a bazooka. That's a pretty nice full-page spread, except for that weird color there. I think it's a weird color choice, even though it's very solid. It's a very well-printed purple, but it looks a little off for some reason. So finally, no more interruptions. Sergeant Rock says, Bulldozer, open the letter. And the letter is full of money. And there's a note. And it's from one of those hoodlums' mothers. She says, my son was one of those guys that attacked you. He pretended he was badly hurt. He confessed everything to me. And I'm writing to tell you you didn't kill anyone. He wasn't dead. They were just trying to blackmail you all these years, or succeeding in blackmailing you. It closed as all the money you ever sent him. Seems a little hard to believe that the kid hadn't spent it on dames and booze. So Bulldozer just feels great. He's like, a great weight has been lifted off my soldiers. But then now they're interrupted yet again by a bunch of Nazi soldiers. Oh, what a great panel there, just the faces. And now Bulldozer is totally in the game. And he just like tears through these Nazis. I love these silhouette panel right here. Bulldozer, it's almost like a Conan comic. He's like literally just a pile of Germans. He's standing on top of them, throwing them around, using his gun as a war club. That's another really nice panel there. And so everything's right at the end. Bulldozer's back to his old self. And he says, a man's got to have a clear mind and a clear conscience to do a good job, right, Rock? Right, Bulldozer. So another happy ending. Next we have the Ghost Bayonets. And, God damn it, I forgot to see who drew this. I'll tell you in a second. So this is we see World War I. We see a bunch of French soldiers, and they're about to come out of their trench and attack the enemy. But then all of a sudden, this cannon fire, or whatever they called it, mortar shells or something, it buries them all. I was a little confused about this. Somehow it just buried them, so their bayonets are sticking up out of the ground. And now, during World War II, they're still there. Now, I hate to be a nitpicker, but I'm pretty sure they would have, dug these guys up to give them a nice burial. Didn't they? I think they did that, after the wars were over. But no, these guys are just left with their lances, or bayonets, sticking right up to the sky. And there's a dogfight going on right over them. And one of the flyers, the Allied flyer. He lands, and he has to really navigate well because he's like, oh man, I didn't escape death in the air to be stuck by bayonets on the ground. So as soon as he lands, this Nazi comes out and attacks him. And they have this fight to the death here. The Allied soldier, the American, picks up one of the bayonets, is trying to fight him off, or trying to kill him too. And just as the Nazi looks like he's going to push this guy into the bayonets, he twists his body, and the Nazi himself falls on the bayonets. And the guy says, never thought I'd owe my life to a ghost bayonet. Kind of a dumb little story, but pretty thrilling, I guess. Kind of exciting. Okay, let me get the story. So that's Sid Green. The guy used to ink all those Carmen Infantino stories in the 60s. And I think it looks pretty damn good. I kind of wish Sid Green penciled more. I hope I'm saying the right name. I think Sid Green was mostly a penciler. Maybe he was mostly an inker. I could be thinking of someone else. Forget what I said. I think Sid Green did a lot of stuff for like Mystery in Space, the science fiction titles. But that's a damn good panel. We have the letter pages. It's kind of surprising how many of these letters are from guys in Vietnam. This is an interesting one. This guy, Al St. Jean, he writes in, and he's like, I'm serving in Vietnam, and who are you trying to kid with those phony comic books of yours? Why don't you show the world what war is really about? I'd really like to see a Marine squad take out a regiment of Viet Cong and come out with no casualties. We might be able to leave here someday. It's like, whoa, that's heavy shit. And the editor, probably Joe Kubert or Robert Kanner, they kind of just evade the question. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to show gore or anything, but yeah, show that there's casualties. So this next one is the Great Battles of History, Kadesh. And so this is back in the time of, the Egyptian pharaohs. And Ramses is the current pharaoh. And all of a sudden, the Hittite army has come upon their rear, and all the Egyptians are routed. They just start retreating. And they're not listening to their generals. He's like, stop, you craven dogs. Don't desert your standards. So this guy, he's like, verily, is Egypt lost? But then Ramses shows up. I'm sorry, guys, I should have mentioned. This is written and drawn by Ric Estrada. And I'm sorry, I didn't mention either. The previous story was written by Robert Kanigher. I'm sorry, the previous two stories. So that Bulldozer story was written by Robert Kanigher, and the Ghost Bayonets was written by Robert Kanigher. Not really much of a surprise. He wrote almost all the war comics, a huge amount of them. So Ramses shows up, and he is like his... he was almost worshipped as a god, even though he was just a man. And he shows up with almost godlike prowess, him and just a handful of retainers, and they fight the bulk of the Hittite army, keeping them occupied until the reinforcements can arise. This Ric Estrada art is, I don't know what to think of it. I don't think I like it. Look at this. This is so crude. It's very odd. And the reinforcements arise, and Ramses wins the battle, and the Hittites are routed. So just a little incident from the Egyptian-Hittite wars. And then last but not least, we have Always Ready. And this is script and art, or pencils, by Morris Waldinger. Inks by Tom Nicolosi. I think I'm a fan of this guy already, from that face there. It looks like an 80s black and white comic from the black and white boom. So this is about the Volunteer Militia of Illinois, their whole history from the War of 1812 all the way up through the Civil War and all the way to World War I and World War II. And they used to have a lot of these in Army at War, like actually showing you the insignias, kind of like war nerd stuff, guys who do reenactments and stuff. And so this is their insignia, and just a little bit of history there. So that's it, guys. Army at War number 213. Any issue with Russ Heath is a good issue as far as I'm concerned. This is just... I think Russ Heath was actually what got me into Sergeant Rock more than Joe Kubert even. Because, you know, there's Joe Kubert in his prime, which I think is the late 60s, early 70s. I think that was his peak. Many other eras are great by Joe Kubert, but that was my favorite. But then I picked up a few of the Russ Heath ones, you know, from this time. And as the 70s progress, he really gets phenomenal. Like 73, 74, Russ Heath is firing on all engines. And so hopefully one day I'll show you some of those as well. But slowly but surely, if I stay alive long enough, I'll show you all my war comics. This is just one of them. But I'm glad I got to show off a Russ Heath one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.